What's up, y'all? Check out the Fantasy Men for Women on Vimeo. A link for it is in the description box. Y'all know once a month I do that on demand video. I still gotta get paid, man. I gotta make my money. See, my sons, who are otherwise my pimps, they make me put on my red bottom shoes and get out here and do some things, right? So, but it's always reasonable, man. Always charge reasonable stuff for my work. But I'm gonna talk about the fantasy men for women. Now, y'all, some of the fantasy men y'all already know about, like the male exotic dancers, the gigolos. I'm gonna get into that whole thing with the sex tourism because I always think it's hypocritical for women to talk about passport bros, but I've been knowing about women going on sex tourist vacations since the early 80s. Really 20 years before I first heard about men going overseas. I ain't hear about men really going overseas just for that until 2003. But I knew about it from the women, several women. But I'm going to talk about that. And then just the regular type of men out there who represent a fantasy for women. And then I'm going to talk about this one. I'm not going to give it here. You're going to have to buy the video. One group, there's a serious conversation, and even during the video, I say, this is something that's even deeper that I don't see many people talking about. I mean, I would have to break out Professor Rom for that. When it's Professor Rom, I'm throwing on the glasses. I got the books out, reference books, everything. When I go deep into stuff, because I know people see me in the car videos and might think whatever about me, but I can go academic. A brother can go academic easily. I got the credentials. Hell, that well, I ain't even gonna talk about it. I might do a car video on that. I was about to bring up somebody, but oh man, I was about to bring up somebody, but shoot, that's a separate car video. but anyway, right? Check it out because see, that's the one thing out here. We don't talk about the fantasy men. See, when shout out Master Teacher BGS, he has the octane scale, right? But then he has the octane scale, but on the octane scale are the diesels. The diesels, those are sex workers. Now we know about the women sex workers, and they got so many versions of them, but there's men sex workers. So of course that's one type of fantasy. When women deal with them, they're looking for the fantasy. They're looking for the fantasy. They're not looking for a relationship. They know it's not going to be one. They paying for the fantasy. And like I said, women, they paying a lot more. Like these male exotic dancers out here. That's one of the reasons I promote body game, because that's their main draw right there. And guys trying to act like, well, we don't, they don't really like them or try to ignore that. But you got men out there, shoot, really making more money than the women. Making more money than the women just doing the dancing. Because a lot of female rather, exotic dancers, a whole lot of them don't make that much. A whole lot of them really don't. But then that's just one version. I talk about the gigolos, and then of course the Beach Boys and everything. But then just regular Joes out here who women are dealing with, not for a relationship, but they dealing with them for the fantasy. And in the video, I get into what the fantasy is based on. What the fantasy is based on. I'm not gonna give y'all everything. I ain't gonna give y'all everything, but then finally I discuss something that's really warrants his own video and really warrants me breaking out books and everything references for, because it's a real issue in relationships, and I don't see a lot of talk about it, period. I'll put it like that. But it's still part of that fantasy realm. It's part, but it's on it, and I'll just say it's on such a deep level, even women don't recognize it as a fantasy. It's just a normal thing which other psychoanalysts have actually peeped themselves. Like this when you get mental health professionals to jump in it for this, one of those deep things. But that still comes under the fantasy thing, because that's one of the things you got to understand when you're dealing with women. There's going to be the regular guy she deals with, And she'll have a regular relationship with him and everything. She will have a regular relationship with him. You know, she and he could be handsome. He can be, you know, nice body build, everything. You know, good guy. You know, she marry him, have a couple kids, but then that's kind of a vanilla relationship. You know, the fantasy is where she's going to do some of the stuff that she wouldn't do otherwise. And even though I don't bring up the word shadow world in the particular video, you could say it's part of the shadow world. You know, that's a fantasy. That's a fantasy. It's not a real thing. And in fact, when you talk about fantasies, you know, that gets into scenarios and everything that a particular woman wants. And all women got a fantasy. All women got one. Now, if you can present that to her, shoot, a lot of guys making money off of just presenting that fantasy to a woman. So I get into that. I get into it. And the price of admission, it ain't that. You know me, I don't be charging no $1,500 for anything. I'll be giving y'all shit for $9.99. Shit. You know, because, you know, my pimps and everything, you know, that I got to buy them stuff. Shit. I think I still got to buy something for my youngest son for his prom. But whatever the case, I don't mind, you know. Rom loves being a daddy. So the thing is, right? The thing with it is they have them. You have to understand that. And even when you're dealing with a woman, you got to understand, even if you that guy, you got everything going on. If you ain't hitting her fantasies, if you ain't fulfilling that fantasy, oh, she'll find somebody else who will. Like I said, there's even still not enough talk about women cheating and why they cheating and who they cheating with. And a lot of times they cheating with some guy because he's fulfilling something that her main man ain't giving her. And it's definitely on the fantasy tip. It's definitely on the fantasy tip. And what I talk about, just the general, like a woman could have any type of fantasy. I talk about the general guy she'll have a fantasy with, but as me. For a world of 4 billion women, all of them got like something distinct to them. But this is just to give you a general idea of the type of men, general types of men that will fulfill those fantasies. So, as I said, a link to purchase it is in the description box. A link to purchase it is in the description box. Check it out, learn from it. And especially the part I'm not getting into publicly here, but really check it out, listen to it. Like I would say this, like you want to pay attention to about the last 20 minutes, and that's when it gets deep. It ain't, let's put it like this: the type of guy that's I've talked about in the last 20 minutes will blow out even the stripper, the gigolo, even Mr. Goodbar. Blow them away. Because if a woman find this particular type, oh, like I put it like this, and I said this: if she run into this particular type and she your girlfriend or wife, she might roll out on you. But it's not. He ain't a stripper. He ain't a dancer. He isn't a gigolo or even a Mr. Goodbar. But it's a very prevalent, I put it like that, very prevalent. So anyway, y'all check it out. Once again, the link is in the description box. And I only do 2 videos a day, so I'll get back with y'all tomorrow. But check it out. Peace and blessings, y'all.